Oh, we got Agent.
Ooh, perfect timing.
Perfect timing to get Agent added into the mix. I'm going to do a quick intro before we start this beast. It has been quite the hiatus, boys and girls. We got some great news today on the Digital Climax Kings. I am the dead on leprechaun, joined by the beautiful, stunning digital prophets in Agent X.
What's up? Live from the woods.
What's up, Agent?
Oh, not much. Just go back home.
Right on, right
How
on.
you guys doing?
Let's. We're doing fantastic. Loving this
Yeah,
Supreme Court news today.
yeah. Good news. I figured you'd be ecstatic.
You said that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it is straight up legendary. Like today is going to be one of those days that kids read about in history books and go, that was the day that you could carry a gun outside your house in all 50 states.
Did they start writing yet?
Sorry, you broke up a little, Agent. Say it one more time.
I said, did they start rioting yet?
Not yet. I didn't see the Roe v. Wade decision come down, but when that happens, I think we're going to see the rioting kick into high gear
Do you think that really has riot potential?
for sure.
Okay, I know people get real emotional about that stuff.
I can't care less about the issue. Personally, I think that it matters, but I don't have I don't have a real stake in that other than I think abortion should be avoided. I think people should not do it, but it's not my body. And I've always been sort of a libertarian at heart. So I don't know how you guys
Yeah.
feel. Anyway, since agents doing the weather, just playing, brother. So I just want to jump into this story. Live court update today from the Supreme Court. They have voted 6-3 to strike down New York's gun law, likely limiting the ability of state and local governments to restrict guns outside the home. Hours later, the Senate advanced a bipartisan gun safety bill that responded to a spat of mass shootings. And the big deal with this, like I was telling profits before we went live, is that all 50 states are going to have to come up with some system now to allow for people to lawfully possess and carry guns in every place that's not a federal building, a school, or otherwise prohibited by federal laws or state laws. So the reason this is a big deal is that obviously criminals by and large don't follow the law, and because of that fact, now that the playing field has really been evened out. The gun is the great equalizer. Grandma on her way to church, somebody tries to carjack her. Now she can take them out and not even miss Sunday mass. And the big deal here is that everybody's like an off-duty cop now. Nobody's going to know who has a gun. Nobody's going to know who is armed and who's not. It is not just a whole bunch of victims. The criminals now have a level playing field for change, and it's going to change the game forever.
Oh, but how is Antifa going to riot and beat people up now?
It's going to be a
Ooh, right?
challenge.
Good
No,
point,
no, but
agent.
this is, I was on this to Leprechaun last night. Everybody should do yourself a favor, go on YouTube and look up Young Thug. And there's a whole documentary on the rappers from Atlanta. And these kids are like 15 and 16 walking around with AK 47s and military grade weapons. These laws was
Wow.
going to stop those kids from having military grade weapons. And they rap about it. They get the guns illegally.
Yeah.
So there's okay, and the other thing is too, dude. There's a mass shooting in the inner city every freaking day. You just had like 18 people got shot. So I'm not taking anything away, but we got to put this in perspective. You got rap, dude. You got like gang members walking around with AK-47s. They're not trying to disarm them. They're not
Nope.
trying to do disarm them.
Right?
They're trying to disarm like everyday people from defending themselves because you can't create chaos if people can defend themselves.
100%. I couldn't agree more. It's like you said, it's leveled the playing field for a change. And now we're going to see it's going to take some time for people to get, the training requirements to legally carry a gun. But I would have to say that in a couple months from now, we're going to see story after story of people saying the same thing, that, essentially the world has been changed now by the fact that this decision happened, and people are going to be able to prevent that carjacking, prevent that purse from being stolen. And the criminals that have the guns, they've always broken the law. And, like Agent alluded to, that they've never cared about a law. So this is what changes things, is that now for once in their life, people are going to have the great equalizer right in their pockets.
Dude,
Hey, Lep, is there any other country on this planet that has similar gun rules like we do?
Nope.
Okay.
Not in the way that we do as of today. I mean, there's certainly countries out there that promote guns, and that the liberals will tell you that, certain countries have, required military service, that each citizen is issued and trained to use a rifle, and, that they have this, real specific training program, and they don't have all these mass shootings, but nobody has the freedoms that we have here in reality.
Makes sense.
I don't know. I think this was a big win for everyday Americans that just want to live their life, go to work, do, build a business, keep their assets. I mean, you work hard for the things you have. Why should somebody be able to put a gun or a knife in your face and take that car, that house, that knife, whatever it is? I mean, think of all the things that are going to change over the next months and years. This will be what, like I said, this will be looked back in the history books as a turning point, one way or the other.
yeah, criminals have a very big sense of self-preservation. If they know people are going to pop back at them, they're going to think twice about trying to rob people.
Right? Yeah. There was a time in the 90s when you could go to certain areas in California, like by the Bay Area, and you didn't have to worry about your car getting broken into because everybody in that area had guns, and everybody knew that everybody would shoot with their guns if you did anything to their vehicles. It was just kind of like a common law, but then it kind of disappeared.
Yeah, this is going to be big. I think that not only are you going to see, obviously, it's going to have a huge effect on, potentially the election, protests, riots around the country, especially if the Roe v. Wade
Hmm.
decision comes out. It'll be interesting to see how each state implements it, but then also to see what the reciprocity is going to look like. And what I mean by that is, say I'm here in Minnesota and I travel to, New York. Will I have to have a proficiency test? Will I have to, have multiple permits? I mean, it's something I'm willing to do, because to me, carrying a gun is, I believe, a constitutional right, and there shouldn't be a permitting process, but I'm going to follow the law, because I want to make sure that if I plug somebody, I've got the law on my side, so that I don't spend the rest of my life in prison with homies, best friends that are just going to take me out.
No, but I think that people do need like permits and proper training. Because back in the day in the old west, you got training since you were a kid, and people are not getting it anymore. You just go get one. So people, I think they need training. That way, they will respect the fact that it is a privilege, and you know the proper way how to do stuff. So,
100
like number one, never point a gun at anybody. Somebody need to tell it to Alec Baldwin.
Right, right. And people talk all the time about, gun safety and whatnot, and then the dude's been in, I can't even tell you how many action movies over the years. The guy has probably got more training than most gun people claim to have, and for him to do something so stupid as to point any weapon, even if it's unloaded guns kill more people than anything else. It's that round in the chamber that you didn't know was there, that always ends up hurting somebody. So I agree with you. We should be teaching this right at school. This should be taught in high school, just like driver's ed.
Well, you have
Yeah.
to Google her. Who the
You've dropped off a little, Agent, but yeah, I mean, I think that if we had some sort of training system implemented in the schools and taught people what, gun safety rules, go through, you got to always keep the firearm pointed in a safe direction, know your target and what's beyond it, keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to fire. These basic rules have been around since firearms existed and have kept people safe for generations.
I
So I,
think.
I think,
Sorry,
go for it, brother. No, go for
I
it.
think we need to bring back sword fighting. That's what we need to bring back: sword fighting
Yes.
school.
Swashbuckling, fencing.
I totally agree. And the other thing to allude to about this law change is that a lot of concealed carry permits are going to enable people to carry other alternative weapons, such as tasers, such as pepper pepper guns and other
Mm.
less lethal options that require a concealed carry permit to have outside of your home. So you can, there I know a lot of, especially women, my wife included, who has a carry permit just for the convenience of, hey, if I want to go in the gas station quick, I can throw my gun in the car or leave another gun in the car without having to worry that she can be, ticketed or bothered if she did have a defensive use of a gun. She doesn't have to worry about the implications of that, but she always carries mace all the time. And there's some states, Minnesota's not too bad as far as that goes, but there are definitely some states where you have to have a permit to carry any weapon of any kind.
Dude, can I say something real quick? I just thought of this. In the morning, I watch Spanish news, and the things that they show on the Spanish news channel, like the crime and stuff, they show it's all like surveillance video footage. And I'm thinking while you guys are talking, like, there is so much violence going on. Like, it makes the fact that we have these gun laws, like the lax ones, it makes it like a blessing. Because if I ask my friend, I'm like, where's this? She's like, oh, that's Nicaragua, or this is like Honduras. All these places where I'm pretty sure the gun laws are a lot more strict, right? South America?
By and large, each country's a little different, but I would say
Yeah.
in principle, you're 100%
But
right. They're
like
definitely
Mexico,
strict.
aren't they? They're frowned upon in Mexico. That's why the cartels got them all, right?
Right. I think there's only one gun shop in all of Mexico, or one or two. It's
Wow.
crazy. And all you can have is a 22. You need a specific permit. I don't know all the ins and outs of the laws, but it is very very difficult to get anything outside of what the criminals do.
Mm-hmm. Outlaws outlaw the guns, and all the outlaws have the outlaw guns.
Yeah, the best gun store they had was Fast and Furious back when Eric Holder was
Oh,
doling the
yes.
guns over the border. So now that that gun store is closed, they're probably really hurting.
Wowzers.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that we get a win like today, and like I said, I think this is going to have the kind of life-changing things. I mean, think of all the people that are now going to be alive in 2 to 3 years because they had a gun to stop themselves from being sexually assaulted, to stop all these different kinds of crimes that would maybe push somebody to vote the wrong way for their whole life. Thinking that the government will always protect me. I mean, you guys are Texas native at the moment, so being that Uvalde is sort of in your backyards, I mean that's absolutely devastating what happened to those kids, and that's going to change many lives beyond the people who passed away.
You know what? Just from living out here and observing everywhere I go, you'll always see like at least one cowboy type dude packing. But then you also see a lot of, at least in the country, a lot of like civil order, just unspoken respect. It's different. It's great, but I know it's not all over. Of course, people are crazy, but yeah, could be for the better.
Yeah, and I don't
Grandma's
think it's
got a gun,
that's right,
baby.
baby. Jamie's got a gun. Everybody got a gun.
All the hoodlums are on the run.
Uh,
Dude, I was gonna vent real quick when I was waiting for the show at 5:30, and the 30-minute news CBS News came on. It was 10 minutes of just talking about Trump, like Orange Man. Like, come on. And then they got into the gun stuff, but that's when we picked it up on the phone. And I'm thinking, like, all the news I watch is whatever my friend turns on, usually in Spanish. But then my other news is like the YouTube algo, which is pretty interesting, because it's kind of defined on what you search for. But I'm seeing video after video about how like food is going to be in short supply, and there's a lot of other things. You think I'm just the point is that the news should focus on, guys. You seeing this like lack of connection to reality and what really affects us? I mean, the gun thing is major too.
but I think it ties into what you said. I mean, the
Yeah,
stuff that you have, you want to protect. I mean, you don't want somebody to be
you're
able to just
right.
take it from you. Think how many people have been assaulted and had all their groceries stolen in their vehicle. All these petty thefts. People are going to think twice once, like I said, the couple stories are going to hit the news. They read their gangbanger friend's obituary. I mean, they're going to start thinking twice about the way they live their lives. And I do think that unfortunately, people are going to be unfairly targeted, but they're going to look for prey. I mean, it's just like animal
Mm-hmm.
kingdom. They're going to look for people that look like they might not be carrying a gun. So grandma and grandpa better carry because they're going to get preyed on even more, I think, in some ways. So,
I'm thinking the Book of Eli. Remember that?
oh yeah, that's a
It's
classic.
gonna be it's gonna be all like post-apocalyptic.
It should be the how-to guide for surviving what's coming.
Yeah, right. Watch this movie. Take notes. P.S. He's blind. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, the book does you no good. It's all in braille.
Ruin the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, the first watch, that was a great movie, but that's a tough one to sit through more than a couple of times because once you know the big
Oh
secret,
yeah, there's certain movies where it's like one and done.
yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, dude can act. I mean, like that was a
Wait, so
spectacular
the
performance.
so the book is in Braille?
Oh, he just ruined it.
Oh, so sorry. So sorry. The Bible's in braille. Yes, yes.
So the guy can't even read it.
The whole time he was blind fury.
That
He was like Blind Fury the
sounds
sequel.
like somebody in the script was like, "Look, we need a twist at the end." Like Stanley was there. I got a humdinger for you. How about this? How about the Bibles in Braille? That'll be a whopper, wouldn't it?
Get it? He was blind the entire time. Oh,
Remember that scene with the iPod and he couldn't figure out what setting he was changing? Now you know.
right. They throw in that flashback. We could produce some bangers, guys. Some bangers. We should I don't know, produce some post-apocalyptic TikTok flicks to raise some funds for the cause.
For the hydroponics op.
Oh, hey, did you
How would you
guys?
explain the cause? What's up, Agent?
No, it reminded me. Me and Jeremy was talking about this. There's an actress on Twitter that posted about this guy who's like ex-military, and he created a device that pulls water from the atmosphere. And he's working with Flint, Michigan, right? And we always talk about how the government tries to stop people like that. Not really. So if you go through his GoFundMe, he only needs $500,000, and you know how much he's raised? three
It's probably
thousand
pathetic.
people.
Yeah.
No, people are more concerned about a $5 million dress that Kim Kardashian has stretched out than actually. So it's to be that important.
Man, she kind of killed that dress, though.
Yeah, that was
It's tragic. Can we
was
have a moment of
savage.
silence?
Yeah.
It's gold, the gold dress.
The
No, it's
gadunkadunk
gold.
took it down.
Ooh. So yeah, I think maybe the cause should be for survival of the. It's just kind of sad because I'm out here in the woods and we haven't had rain in who knows weeks, and it's been in the triple digits, guys, and everything's looking dead.
Yeah, I was watching a news story on the lamestream news about that. The saying the drought in Texas and Arizona, all the the drier areas of the country, the triple digits are just taking people out right now.
Oops, let's flip it. Yeah, I mean, I guess those cows that we were talking about that died, that's kind of normal when you have millions of them.
Yeah,
See
I
the
saw that story too, and I was a little hesitant to buy into it right away, and I was kind of glad that I waited a few more days to think about it because, like you said, a lot of cows die for a lot of reasons, and the only thing that made that look super sketchy was that there was a lot of other things going on that we really can't discuss without getting doxxed in YouTube. But with everything that's happened at the food processing plants, there's a reason to be suspicious. Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
but like I can't believe they all died in perfect square boxes.
I mean, the only way we'll feel it is at the grocery stores, right?
I think we feel it just as a whole. I think people are just deflated, and I think that's what makes today's news so awesome is that we finally have some good news and put a little power back in people's hands. And
Yeah.
think about the
Lep,
people
do
that
you
might
go
start a
grocery
business.
shopping?
On and off, not all the time.
Like lately, have you noticed? Have you gone lately? Are the shelves looking good?
Yeah, I would say most places have stuff, but like when we go to Sam's Club or Costco, like they'll be out of some random things like milk, or they'll be out of eggs or something that they've never been out of, like in the history of me ever going to that store. So
Yeah.
I don't go to grocery stores frequently. My wife takes care of most of the quick stops like that, but by and large, I'd say there are definitely shortages here, but it seems to kind of rotate.
Next time you go, I'm gonna do this too. Like, pay attention to certain things. See if they're like fanning things out, like marshmallows. I was watching this clip earlier. This guy was going to Aldi's and Walmarts and all kinds of stores and pointing out how they're fluffing up the shelves to make them look full, but it's a facade. And I noticed the other day I was at an HEB, which is a supermarket, and there was a whole meat section that was just empty, but it looked like it was getting taken out. And my friend was like, "Look at that! That used to be full." And I was like, "Ooh, interesting."
I have noticed that at Walmart where they have kind of expanded like the shelves and the end caps. They have just got
Hmm.
tons of Chinese junk, like all the trampolines and like summer stuff. They're just overflowing on that.
Ooh, I did hear that there's a lot of the ships that have been waiting to get unloaded for that stuff. It should have been unloaded months ago. Is now hitting the stores, and they got to get rid of it quick.
Yep.
Back up. There's going to be a lot of like backlogging, and man, we could probably get some killer deals.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're in the market for, there already is some pretty good deals floating around. I've been trying to find a fire pit, and I can't find one that's the what I'm looking for. I want it to be one that you can move. I mean, I know I can build one,
Mm,
but I want one that I can move around my yard so that I don't
yeah,
char up the neighbor's tree.
never a good thing.
Well, it depends on if you like your neighbor or not, I guess.
True, very true.
With neighbor on one side, I'd maybe take his whole house down with my fire pit if I could, but neighbor on right to the side of me, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, neighbors, they can be iffy.
It's a fact, but you better be friends with him if it's possible, because you may need him someday.
I had
Especially in this climate.
I had posted on Facebook because um basically I think World Bank has given Africa like a couple $1 billion for hunger, and I posted get
Losing your
fish truck from
agent.
Depot. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Yep.
yes,
And Noah.
I know him.
And I posted you could take $700, get a fish tank, and set up a hydroponic system and feed a lot of people. And somebody laughed, a laugh emoji. I'm like,
Well,
We
I
should
would
set one up.
I would say so many people are taking L's right now. So many people are so sad about, this Roe decision, this other Supreme Court, gun case that came out today, that they are literally trying to do to everyone else basically how they feel. So they're trying to kind of share that hurt that they're feeling and make everybody else feel, try to bring them down essentially. Like I've noticed that
Misery
a lot
loves
too,
company.
for sure, for sure. But
Hmm.
I'm totally game when you guys do get that hydroponics up and running, or if you get some sort of a first grow set done, we should definitely do a video on that.
Yeah. Make a village.
Teach a man to fish.
Hmm. Speaking of, I caught 19 fish the other night within like 45 minutes. It was pretty cool. They were just like sunnies and bass, but it was fun. Then we ate them.
Catching fish is always better than not catching them.
Right? And the way my friend cooked them up, so much seasoning, it was pretty delicious. Living off the land. Maybe we'll try and catch some possum, guys.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the more skills that you can develop right now, the better.
I've never trapped an animal in my life. It would be different.
Oh, you never trapped squirrels and chipmunks as a kid?
No, no.
Oh,
Tormented them with slingshots and BB guns and rocks, but never trapped them.
10-gallon fish aquarium, a stick, and a long piece of string goes a long way. A little peanut
Oh,
butter
I
in
bet.
there, Dude, you catch mad chipmunk. Dude, there was a day, me and my buddy, no joke, we had 9 squirrels in a 10-gallon aquarium.
Wow.
And I'm not promoting that, just to be clear. I think
Well,
it was
here's the
stupid.
funny thing. I was listening to a guy earlier talking about the Great Depression, and they were talking about deer hunting or something. And he's like, "My grandpappy said there was no deer during the Great Depression. They ate squirrels. So if your squirrel game's good, you could survive the Great Depression."
I don't know if it's true or not because I've never eaten enough of them, but I guess rabbits and squirrels are so lean, like there's just not enough fat on them that it's like eating
Um,
celery, where if you eat it as your only source of protein, you'll just keep losing weight. Like you'll never be able to stay
yeah,
ahead of
they
it.
say that about moose as well.
Never had a moose.
I've had some up there in Duluth. It was gifted by the neighbor, and he think he told that whole story. But you can't survive off this, but it's darn good. I also had squirrel for the first time in Duluth. It was at a potluck for the Coast Guard, and one of the seamen, Eben, brought squirrel salad. Nobody knew till afterwards. It's pretty good. Thought it was chicken.
I'd try anything once, even if it sounds disgusting. Like I'm not gonna go running out to eat bugs or anything, but I'll give some frog legs a try. I'll try some sort of exotic animals just to see what it tastes like. Just so you can
I
say you
would
did it.
shy away from the vultures and the pigeons. I've heard they're both nasty. Scavengers.
Anything else that eats meat, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You want them to be eating the bugs for you. I'll stick with my chickens. They eat the bugs for me, and I'll eat the chicken.
Right? It's a symbiotic relationship.
It works.
Right? Agent muted?
Yeah, I think he's
No,
just doing that to keep us.
yeah.
Oh, he's fun. I know Agent likes to talk food. He's a big bacon fan. I
Yeah,
heard the bacon's good. We're in trouble on the bacon, guys. We've got to start stocking up on bacon.
What's up with bacon?
Something about a huge pork processing plant that was in Texas, and it was planned to be shut down or something, but it's gonna impact those prices a little bit.
Did you guys do BRICS country that happened a couple days ago?
Didn't hear anything you said, buddy.
you broke up, Agent.
Big time. Probably the worst for the show.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yeah, kind of transformer.
Yeah.
No. So the BRICS banks, the BRICS
Okay.
countries, they had a conference. So it's like Russia, China, South Africa, Brazil, and India, and they're talking about making a new currency based on their commodities.
Oh, you mentioned this earlier. This is interesting.
Yeah, and Putin is thinking about completely cutting off Europe from gas and oil and
From
diverting all into.
commodities.
And it's the craziest thing. This almost is like the storyline from Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun, the Brotherhood of Nod.
Agent, if Putin cut them off from like the commodities they needed, would they have to go south and use their currency, and then that would cause that currency to greatly increase in value?
Well, their commodity, the currency would be almost like the
Like a BRICS
SDR.
nation. Oh, okay,
It'd be like
gotcha.
the SDR, but for the BRICS nations, and it'd be backed by their commodities. And the oil, I think, is actually will be separate. But this almost reminds me of the
Mm.
storyline of Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun.
I've never heard of that. Sounds awesome though.
Command and Conquer, the classic.
Interesting. Well, we got about a minute left. Profits. What's our white pill from Texas? There's got to be
White
some
pill
good
from
news.
Texas is that there's potential rain in a few days, but we got to go through 103 and then two 104s, and then we might see a drop to the 90s, guys. So I'm getting used to it. You know, I'm working outside every day, and at first it was a lot of breaks. Now it's just minimal breaks. Heat stroke kind of stopped occurring afternoon. Nice. Other than that, guys, that's it. That's all I got.
Well,
The last bit I saw was Texas may put up a vote next year for Texas. The voters want Texas to recede from the union.
The
I saw that.
Republic.
Yeah, that they were viewing. We have to skate the line so YouTube doesn't make us disappear to the dark realm of the internet. But yes, they are talking about secession because of the fraudulent election stuff that they believe. Of course, we believe this was the safest and securest election in history, and Joe Biden's the most popular president ever.
Ever 81 million, baby.
But yeah, I mean that would be interesting because obviously the last civil war started with a secession. Actually, a few states seceded, and the rest is history, as they say.
Ooh, I did not know that, but my Civil War studies aren't up to par.
Oh,
That
you
should
live
be
in the
another
South.
show.
You guys are still fighting the old war.
Yeah, right? Should do a historical segment someday.
I'm game.
All right, get our study on.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, guys, have a great night. Good show.
Yeah.
I'd bring it a little heavier, but this sun has drained me throughout the day.
No, it's all good, dude. We appreciate you making time. We'll see you guys. Hopefully, let's do another stream maybe early next week at least, maybe sooner, depending on if something big drops with the Roe v. Wade case. We can do another live or something. But yeah, we'll connect again early next week.
Sounds like a plan. Stay safe. Prop.